Ladies and gentlemen, I'm starting this a little bit late because I didn't want the early part of my VOD to get muted because it happened last time, so I listened to Blackpink music. Stupid, I forgot not to listen to it again today. Apologize. Anyways, without further ado, we'll get to my patch 9.6 note rundown. I actually completely forgot what I was expecting for this patch. Generally speaking, I'm just playing. There's a couple problematic champions in every role, but I'm enjoying the meta a lot more than the 6 months of Aurelia Urgot, Lysandra, and so I don't know exactly what they're looking to hit here. I don't, except for I know they're gonna nerf Ezreal because they said so. I think last patch. Aside from that, I forgot everything else, and so I'm kind of interested to see what's gonna happen. So let's read. We got a bunch of stuff this patch, including small updates to features like lever buster, frame rate cap, mission trackers. Okay, things I probably don't care about. They didn't put a space here, did they? Did they? They forgot. That's a formatting error, right? Are you serious? There's some tuning to champions we've been seeing regularly, including Neko, who is nerfed midway through 9.5. Silas and Rek'Sai. Kale's getting minor adjustments based on their first patch performance after being updated. We're bringing old Urgot back to relevance. The shield shuffle, it's in his E now. General buffs and walking turn mode. Last thing we broke double tier Ezreal. Great, let's keep going. Never watched that. Kale. Okay, so I'm actually I don't know. I'm not very well suited to talk about Kale. I've been playing a lot of Kale mid, a ton of Kale mid. The thing about Kale is she's not a champion before 6, pretty much. At 6, she has her E splashes, so at the very least, you can QE and kill backline at like 9, 10. And at 11, she becomes an actual range champion, which is pretty good. And at 16, she's got. So she has probably the strangest power curve in the game, in the sense that she is extremely weak early and extremely strong late. A lot of people attribute Kale to similarities to stuff like Kassadin, but Kassadin's early game is actually not bad. Like I can commonly win lanes as Kassadin against other champions, especially if they misplay. But a lot of times I play Kale, it's very hard, like almost impossible for me to win lane with Kale. It's just you winning lane with this champion is you getting like even CS. That's how pretty much impossibly hard it is for you to win with this. So mid lane you tend to go Ludens into like Nashers or Lichbane. Like you go definitely a more mage oriented build because you can't match the range or the wave clear of the other mid laners without it. Top lane I know you go a bunch of different stuff. Bork, Gunblade, Rush are into Nashers is really popular. I don't think it really works well mid lane. I'm interested what they're going to do with this champion. So it's looking quite strong, especially as players learn how to play her. But her W and E can feel awkward, so she typically builds a lot of attack speed. Fixing that as well as buffing her W to be a better reactive defense in lane. To compensate, we're hitting her late game power in ways that make her a little bit more item dependent. Okay, let's talk. Attack damage growth decreased. Okay, attack speed growth decreased. By 0.5. A default is adaptive is AD over AP. Okay. Recommended items include Rage Blade and things. So let's just think about this. I don't really care about the AD growth decrease, right? 0.5 over 18 levels shouldn't super matter. Especially because you get a lot of extra on hit with your E. It's not a big deal. The attack speed growth is something that's a little bit more interesting. They essentially cut it by 1/4. That's gonna hurt a little bit, but not nearly as much as Neko, right? Which got absolutely slaughtered. What did they do to compensate? So there's a smaller AP ratio, which, by the way, sucks for me because I tend to build a lot more AP than usual Kale builds top lane. No longer disarms yourself for 1 second about casting. Oh, thank God. This is a huge quality of life buff. A lot of what makes Kale difficult to play is her W and her E have cast animations on them, and so it's really clunky playing the champion. Like, stuff does not come out quickly. So removing this, thank God, super enjoyable to play. Just off quality of life buffs alone. And then having this be on cast so you can dodge stuff easier is nice. Losing the move speed kind of sucks for me. Legit, kind of sucks a lot. You're getting a ton of ability, like ton of move speed, like a broken amount. Maybe they need to nerf it, but I mean, I was having fun going Death Cap 3rd. Starfire Spellblade. I did equal to Kale's basic auto windup. Cool. So they removed the cast time as well, so it feels way more fluid. Looks great, looks great. The basic attack portion of Spellblade can now properly crit. Cool. That's okay. And then Update via X be more wee woo. Be more blue da boo da boo die. Less yellow, more spooky. Death and okay. Okay. So what did Kale give up? Kale gave up almost. Kale shouldn't care about the growth, to be honest, because when Kale hits 11 to 16 is when this stuff will actually matter. Like you'll start feeling this pretty badly around 11 to 16. But by that point, you're actually a champion. So the question is, does she feel better to play early game? And the answer should be yes, right? They removed this quality of life buff here, quality of life buff here. So this is a very, very, very small change to her, and makes her more enjoyable to play, but not necessarily increases her level of power. Just a nice change. I don't know what I think about this champ. I think mid lane, she's just completely average, like straight middle of the pack champion. Top lane, she's definitely better. I just don't know by how much, so I don't know if she needs nerfs or buffs. But I at least like these changes because I think she needs a lot of quality of life buffs to make her feel fun to play at the very least. Let's just keep going. Neko. So they nerfed a lot about Neko. I used to play a lot of attack speed Neko because I'm a degenerate and she was the best champ in the game. And now they nerfed a lot of her attack speeds. So they're giving it back and they're fixing the W bug, which proc twice at very high attack speeds with Rage Blade. This was a huge bug, by the way. You used to be able to get like disgusting amounts of W damage with this and Rage Blade up, which is really nice. I like this a lot. I do think I've been experimenting a lot with Neko recently mid lane. I think that she's very powerful when it comes to not needing a mana item. That's the biggest thing about Neko. Her non-reliance on mana makes it so that you can look to build other offensive options or defensive options. You know, early's first item Zanya's, first item Banshees and stuff other champions can't do, but Neko potentially can. I've been going Nashor's Rush on Neko every game, and with the extra attack speed growth would definitely help me out a bit. This is nice. I know a lot of people are asking for mage Neko buffs. I think my biggest problem with Neko is her passive is useless. Like the fantasy with Neko is you like transform into this enemy unit, and then you like press your W while you're transformed, and your your allied unit. And your allied unit is nearby, so there's 3 of you, and your enemy team flips out. They're like, who's the real one? I have no idea. And you pop out with Neko, hit a 5-man ulti, and one-shot their team, right? But in reality, the only time I use Neko passive, realistically, is when I'm running to lane. I change to a melee champion, because melee champs have the highest base move speed in the game, so I can get to lane about 3 seconds faster than I could running in normal form. And that is 99% of what I use my passive for. I think that the idea of that she's like a trickster doesn't really work out in theory. Her actual power level seems fine to me. I just feel like she doesn't fulfill the level of fantasy that you'd want as a Neko player. And I hope at some level they can fix that, because I think that's what would make her more unique and thereby more enjoyable for people to play. At the moment, she feels like a better laning Lux, I guess. And whereas Lux feels like very thematic, she feels a little broken. Not so much playing her, or not as much power level, just in terms of her kit not necessarily coming super far together. Anyways, let's keep going. Ornn. A bunch of random stuff for Ornn. W cooldown decrease, recommended items update. Ornn no longer accidentally cancels E and R dashes by upgrading ally items. No longer expires. Q no longer expires if Ornn is mid dash. Okay, bunch of quality of life buffs. These two are only quality of life buffs, and this is the only actual buff. Okay, can no longer upgrade items mid dash. Okay, nice. If a pillar is about to expire when Ornn casts E mid dash, now it lasts until dash completes for real this time. Okay, this is actually a nice quality of life buff. Cool, I like it. And then they buffed the W to decrease to 2 seconds over 5 levels. Just seems like a solid overall buff to the champion. He seems somewhat weak. He can use these buffs. They don't seem like they're going overboard. I don't mind it. I see Ornn as a champion with extreme initiation potential, a lot of CC, and will make your super late game team super godly. But the current meta doesn't really allow you to get 14 to 16, 14 to 18 very easily. So he's not super good, but if the meta ever shifts to like maybe more late game oriented, Ornn was definitely going to be pretty powerful at being giving his allies just free items. Aside from that, solid quality life buff, actual buff. I have no problem with it. Seems good. Urgot. Mana regen growth. Passive no longer deals reduced damage to the same target. Double shield removed. Cost cooldown damage reduction decreased. Now permanent toggle at max rank. E shield now shields damage cost increase cooldown. What the fuck? All right, they pretty much changed the whole champion. Okay, let's talk. We cut Urgot's legs out from under him a couple of patches ago, thank God. Thankfully, he's got a lot of them, so we're confident we can get him back on his feet. We're moving his shield from his W to his E so we can turn Purge into a permanent toggle late game, letting Urgot become a walking turret that grinds people up and leaves them disdainfully bleed to death. Okay, so they increase his mana regen growth. And I see the fantasy they're trying to be. Walking permanent like turret that shoots people, guns them down. Passive no longer does reduce damage to the same target. So if you get multiple passive procs on the same target, you're gonna just tear people up, okay? I got the idea. The problem with Urgot before was the fact that, look, Urgot was too tanky, did too much damage at the same time. So if they're able to kind of force him into doing only one of those things, I'd be okay with it. So whether it looks like they're going for a more damage-oriented approach. So it no longer grants him what? He loses his. Oh, all right. The shield's over here. Okay, so the mana goes from 40 to 0. Okay. Becomes a toggle at max rank. On hit damage reduction goes down. Ooh, this is kind of big. Wait. Okay, so on hits with this is how Purge works. If you don't know how his W works, it shoots 3 times every second. So and obviously to offset that, the on-hit damage reduction was 66%. But now that it's only half and you get 3 oddhits per second, that's pretty interesting. Okay, so he has no mana costs and they're a lot lower to begin with, and he can become a turret later. Okay, that's really interesting. Maybe potentially like pure damage alone becomes better. Okay, just straight up, that's a lot more effective. Disdain. So if you hit you with your E, you grant. Oh my god! Wait, what? 1.5 bonus AD. That's so much. Cleaver GA would usually leave you about 100. Okay. Plus bonus health. Okay. The damage itself is 1.0 bonus AD. Okay. And the cooldown is 14 flat. So it sounds like you'd leave this skill leveled last, probably, because the cooldown doesn't decrease. Whereas the cooldown for this is super important, and the same for your Q. Let me first state that I think switching the shield off to E means that there's a lot more skill in being able to avoid it. E flash becomes a super big part of your all-in and initiation kick, because by hitting it, you get defensive utility, as well as a lot of damage. Okay, so there's good things to play around against this Urgot. I like that already. Okay, the mana cost also goes up huge, 50 to 90. Okay, this is really interesting. Fear beyond death, death beyond sight. Range goes up to 2500. Cast time goes up by 0.1. That won't matter. Damage goes up 75 to 75 in total. Wow, that's a lot. Goes up 75 base at level 1 is huge. The biggest thing is that they didn't really nerf his health scaling, right? I understand he can't get his shield as much anymore, right? It's a flat 14 seconds to 9 as he could before, and it's conditional. So it's a 15% bonus health shield, but they didn't nerf the 15% bonus health. They just made it so he also has an AD ratio. Like, obviously, the first thing I think of is Cleaver is going to be like pretty dang good on this champion. It was already like core. It's going to be even better. After that, like, I think the idea that Riot wants is that people just go AD. You know, you don't do reduced damage. damage anymore. You do a lot less on hit damage reduction. I think what's gonna happen is people are just gonna go tank again. Oh, the shield isn't conditional? Oh, what? And it's bonus AD here. Okay. That's huge. If the shield isn't conditional, then a lot of the weaknesses I originally thought with the champion aren't that bad. Wow. Ooh. I'm definitely a person that likes to see changes much more in game than I do like kind of theory crafting about it. I'm not great at being able to figure out like this is gonna be the OP thing or not. I thought it was conditional. It's not. That changes a lot. It still has great bonus health scaling. And probably itemization wise, he'll probably go very similar items that he did before. I think that he'll be looks like relatively powerful still. And still a decently hard champion to dive, but you have to spend a decent amount of mana to be able to get the shield. Okay. I guess it really just depends on how strong he's going to be around his first item spike, because he can definitely get through lane as a ranged champion. I'm really interested to see if his build changes at all, or if going full AD still makes him too tanky. It seems like my initial thoughts are maybe, actually. He might be too good. But hard to say. I can easily see a Cleaver GA build being popular in this champ though. Okay, let's keep going. Simple changes. Aatrox. Aatrox now properly pulls targets even if they're untargetable. Okay. Aatrox passive no longer removed when he's reviving. Cool. That seems pretty good bug fixes. This champ's still really strong. He's a lot of competitive play even after getting hit with 2 different nerfs, or potentially 3 different nerfs. I forgot. So I don't think he needs any buffs. Fixing bugs without giving him too much power back, I think that's okay. Caitlyn, our damage increase. We want to encourage more marksman picks at high skill, so we're buffing a few options to our viability. I was really scared when they said they were buffing Caitlyn. If this is the buff they're giving to her, I don't care. This is actually like... Sure. This isn't gonna do anything. I'll be honest. It's nice. It's okay, but definitely on this, it reinforces this word. The base damage on our ulti is definitely gonna getting scary at level 2 and 3. But yeah, she's this champion I would always be hesitant to buff because since she can become the best laning champ, if not is already the best laning champ in the game. Any kind of buffs toward her laning automatically push out other ADs, so I tend to not want to touch this champion too much, especially early game. But so that's why I don't really care about this. It's fine. Gnar, W cooldown decrease. Working on striking a balance between Gnar and Mega Gnar doesn't overwhelmingly favor one form. Right now, players are sticking to poking and kiting in small forms, so they're making Mega Evolution a bit more attractive for players to use. Okay, so here's what's gonna happen. People are still gonna be sticking to poking and kiting in the small form. Nothing is changing from that. They're just straight buffing his wall up. Nothing, but no one's gonna be like, I really want to go mega form because the cooldown on my W is half now. No, they're just gonna use 3 different Ws while he's transformed and then go back to poking because it's the most consistent and reliable way to lane. So I don't mind if he gets this buff. I just think that nothing's gonna change. Hecarim, Q stacks correctly increases damage. Extended combat buff to help out more as bruisery type builds, not run where he rushes out 5 to one-shot you. Deals a 10 additional damage per stack of rampage. I guess I'm okay with that. If they're making Hecarim, I'm a little bit scared about buffing Hecarim because he does one-shot people a lot, but if they're buffing only his additional damage per rampage, I think I'm okay with that. He's on the dangerous side of champions to buff though, similar to Rengar, where he can just delete people if he gets ahead. Ivern. W more quickly empowers Ivern attacks when he enters the bush. Oh, okay. So it's just a quality life buff to Brushmaker. Sure, that's fine. I think Ivern's power level is decent as well. Jace. Too strong. Too oppressive in lane, especially in pro play players. Understandably love a guy who's rocks melee based stats alongside range functionality. We're changing the base stats to be more similar of range champions. Lowering health regen, lowering health growth, health regen growth, and health. Okay, I think these are fairly fair nerfs. Jace's trade-off is the fact that he only brings damage. He brings damage and poke, but he doesn't bring any team fight. So if he does fall behind, like, he becomes not as useful as other champions. But I do think that he was too flexible because I think he was being played in 3 positions. And that typically means you're overtuned. LeBlanc. Q ratio decrease. Removing some raw bursts from LeBlanc's use, success comes more from mobility and skill shots rather than point and click button. Okay, I'm down for that. I think LeBlanc is overtuned. I think they could have done more, but I'm okay with something. I kind of wish they did more, but I'm okay with something. Nautilus. Armor decrease, passive cooldown decrease. I haven't seen a Nautilus in a long time. I've seen them more support than anywhere else, and really not so much support. So the way when I see Nautilus, I think of him as like kind of a he's like a beefy body that can single target initiate with a hook. And there's a couple of champions that's good against. I think before you saw him as a Thresh counter pick, a decent amount. And I think that as long as he can counter pick something that's useful, right? So a good example is Leona does really well into Rakan, and you'll see that match played quite a bit. I don't really think there's one in the current game that people pick Nautilus into because he's just not strong enough. So buffs to his base armor, buffs to his whatever, to help him see a little bit more play, whether it's top or support, are great for me. Cooldown goes down by 3 seconds, really nice. But this is definitely more of a solo lane buff than it is a support buff, but still very nice. Rek'Sai, this champ got huge quality of life buffs, and his ulti couldn't be flashed anymore. All of a sudden, Rek'Sai, every game, she's crazy, she's unstoppable. Cool. Probably needs a little bit of nerfs. They're nerfing the Void Rush a little bit. Alright, I'm down. They're nerfing 20 seconds off the ulti and 0.25 bonus AD. Sure, good enough. She'll still be really, really strong, but sure, it's fine. Q, or Shen, sorry, Shen, Q damage increased. Shen's a really scary champion to buff because of his ulti global. Like always really scary. Riot never wants to overbuff this champion, and I don't want to see him overbuffed either. They doubled his on-hit damage early, and remember there's 3 autos, so they essentially increased the damage by 15 at level 1 to 30. I still think that's good. I don't think you can place Shen into a lot of different champions, so you know what? I'm okay giving him some buffs. I think he's relatively weak right now. Sylas, more nerfs, right? We're continually tuning on Sylas since we left him alone. He's probably going to stay omnipresent in pro play high tiers. We're hoping to alleviate some frustrations people are feeling when going up against him, specifically targeting his heal. They lowered his heal ratio again, and they lowered his empowered heal by 25%, which is a lot. Okay, so I used to play a lot of Sylas. I definitely know that he's overtuned. This is just going to make people like already people were just brute forcing with Sylas with W. Like I used to just take stupid trades and win them because of W. And that's not going to change here, okay? What it did change over the last couple seasons is Q max just became it's super good and more consistent, and you're still a really strong champion going to mid game. So everyone, like as they nerf W more and more, like less people are probably going to max this skill against a lot of matchups, and more people are just going to max Q because Q is very reliable. I think he does deserve nerfs. I'm down with nerfing his heal. Sure, no problem. They could have targeted a bunch of different things. I think they could have also looked at mana costs. Would have been interesting. Maybe some cooldowns a little bit, but I think a lot of the cooldowns make this champion enjoyable to play. So rather than doing that, probably tuning down the raw power of the abilities is easier. But yeah, I'm down for more nerfs to Sylas. I know he's overtuned. Not a big deal. Trundle, wow. How many buffs How many patches in a row have we seen Trundle buffs? I think he gets buffed every other patch. Actually, every other patch. At some point he has to be played because this champ is broken into Sedge. By stealing Sedge passive, he gains like a bajillion stats. So at some point, this champion will be good. I don't know if it's now. 10% more bonus attack speed should help out juggling a lot. But I'm just saying, like, he's got to be good at some point. I think it's probably now. Jungling Trundle should feel a lot better with 10% more attack speed. That's a lot of attack speed to give someone early. But I guess we'll see what happens. Definitely be on the lookout. If Sedge keeps rising priority, Trundle will match her eventually. Xayah, W attack speed increase. You want to encourage more marksman picks at higher skill. Oh, wait, before I go on, Trundle was also one of the only counters to Olaf early. So if he ever sees too much play, Trundle was one of the few things that could be like outduel Olaf early. So another thing to keep in mind. Keep going. Xayah, W attack speed increase. Whether you encourage more marksman picks at higher skill levels or buffing a few options toward viability. I think that's fair. I haven't seen much Xayah. I think she's pretty much outperformed by Kai'Sa as well as Jinx right now. So I don't mind seeing this at all. Zoe, this champ's broken. Please nerf this champ. Playing against Zoe can feel overwhelming because the spam miss over E, how hard it is. Yeah. The slow percentage doesn't matter. The cooldown goes up by 4 to 2 seconds. Okay. I'm glad they're nerfing this, but they're not targeting the frustrations of playing against Zoe. When you play against Zoe, the biggest problem about playing against Zoe is the RNG. Well, one of the biggest problems outside of the fact that she just does insane stuff is the RNG factor for W is pretty crazy. One of the things that I thought of to be able to tone it down, and the biggest thing I'm talking about is a lot of the items aren't tuned for getting if you get it at level 1. For instance, if you get Redemption at level 1, you automatically win the lane. Redemption does full damage to all the minions, so if you drop it on the wave, you'll heal for 200. The enemy creeps will take 200, and you automatically get lane control. Also, since the range is so long, you can just walk bot lane with it, and you can Redemption them. You automatically win bot lane for them. And multiple Redemption drops just pretty much mean that you can't do anything about the lane. And the same is true for I don't know. Pro Belt's also problematic to some extent. The way I can see this is that your levels of E should dictate what potential summoners can drop randomly. With early levels of W, you'll get I don't know, some garbage summoner, you know, something that doesn't really super matter. Maybe you get I mean if you consistently got smite, maybe they just start counter jungling with it. But I think that like you should investing more points in the W should give you the potential to be getting more game-changing items. The items aren't balanced around getting it early game. Like getting a Gunblade early game, shit, you know, you're out of luck. So I think that like the amount of items she gets should be restricted on the level of her W. So you can't just RNG a Redemption level 2 and just game's over, or 3 game's over. Suddenly, my games against Zoe feel so slippery, so like random, because sometimes I'll be like, I'm winning this lane, we're doing really well, and she just gets Redemption, double Redemption. Oh, she just got 2 Proto Belts. Oh, she just got 2 Gunblades. All of a sudden, what am I doing in this lane? Well, she just picked up this. Well, all of a sudden they can't do anything. And it's the games where she doesn't get that, suddenly like, oh, I'm winning really easily. I wonder what's going on. So to be able to kind of remove the frustration aspect of that, I think they should probably look into how the random items drop. My recommendation isn't the best, for sure, but that's what I think Zoe's biggest problem is. All right, let's keep going here. If you own the Mana Moon and Archangels, you're unable to purchase the other. We told you to were potentially nerfing Ezreal last patch. We decided that targeting his double tier build was a better solution than directly changing them. Putting all tier items in one group so players can't buy more than one tier. And these items on effect don't expect Ezreal to stay super dominant. Okay, I think this is pretty reasonable. So if you don't remember, Ezreal's scaling actually wasn't very good. He used to be a 4-item scaling champion and it fell off afterwards. With the new tier build, he's able to scale into 5-6 items. But that wasn't true before. So by limiting his build to where he goes like, you know, this into Bork into Mana Moon Bork, Fist, and Last Whisper. That was like his core item, as core items. And then after that, like he felt pretty weak, to be honest, as the game progressed. So I think by making him like a mid game hitting champion, you're able to kind of define his strengths more, as well as not have him be this monstrous late game champ as well. The good stuff. I like it. Really, really good fix. I will be happy to see him not one shot my ass with ulti Q, ulti W ulti Q. Brawler's gloves no longer unique. This matters for like who is buying multiple Brawler's gloves? Yasuo players? I've never ran into this problem, but maybe it's a big thing. Sure, I'm sure it's a nice quality buff, life buff. Minion dematerializer charges the initial cooldown decreased. Damage bonus is increased. Oh, for when you buy PD. Okay, I can see that. Sure. The rune had become a pro stable for its ability to clear cannon minions easily and push maintain wave control. Help other runes compete where decreasing the charge of dematerializer or giving it buff so it can be considered useful in other situations. The starting cooldown is 60 seconds earlier. Wow. Holy shit. Wow, that's a huge change. I don't know what way this comes in. Does this come in at level 4 now? It's really early. You might be able to cheese certain back timings with minion dematerializer that you weren't before because of the back timing. I don't necessarily know if this is that big of a nerf. A lot of times I use minion dematerializer. I don't use more than 4 charges. The most important charge to use is the initial charge on the cannon minion to get that wave shoving in, and then back, or to counter their minion dematerializer. The first 2 or 3 are the most important, and the last 3 are not. I think by lowering the cooldown, this may have actually caused it to be a little bit better. The bonus damage really was only relevant, I'm sorry for this, for Lux players, because sometimes you couldn't clear backline without investing a lot of dematerializers into range minions to be able to one-shot them without Ludens. But aside from that, no one else really used it. Maybe TF as well. Alright, I think this is really interesting. Potentially a buff. I'll definitely experiment with this. Overheal. Shield conversion decreased early. It's a must pick for pros on AD carries. You want players to have more flexibility to runes, so we're nerfing it so other runes can compete. Oh, it lowered the conversion by 50% at level 1. Wow. Well, everyone's just gonna go Triumph instead, or people are just gonna go Triumph instead of just only going this without heal supports. I think people will still pick this up, but it just won't be the guaranteed. That's cool. Bounties. Minions and gold bounties accrue more slowly and decrease if you lose your advantage. Scoreboard numbers no longer indicate base kill or first blood. Support item goal now contributes to the minion monster bonus to accurately reflect when someone's farming and using a support item. Okay, so the biggest thing is the bounty visualization will not have the 300 base kill gold, which I think will matter a lot for people who are looking at bounties and figuring out, oh, it's not as much as I expected. Additionally, you no longer get penalized as much for farming, right? Minions and monsters. I think that's really big, really, really nice. So I think the bounty system isn't bad. They just need to fix it, and these are good steps toward that. Ability proc consistency. What? I don't. Okay, let's keep going. Airy no longer procs up corrupting portion, scorch, other items, runes, and buffs. That's big. He that properly empowers on hits. Secondary targets are accounted for by runes. Interesting. Ranked. Oh, we already know the changes. Everything's being reset to master zeros. I'm okay. Everything else is cool. This is a cute ass skin, by the way. The corgi skin. Cats versus dogs. April event. Pretty cute. I like it. Anyways, I'm done. I got some places to be. I'm gonna go play some ads. See you guys in a bit.